Manchester City have just beaten Newcastle 3-1 at the Etihad, 5-1 on aggregate. I mean, the score just shows that it was a big distance between the both of these teams. Although you have to see that Newcastle did have their chances, but when you're 5-0 down on aggregates, you're probably not going to score more than three. And if you score three, like maybe the motivation would have been there. But I mean, the moment Man City went 3-0 up in this particular game, I think the game was done. But more importantly, for Manchester City, they are in the Carabao Cup final. And guess who's also there? Arsenal. So Arsenal versus Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final 2026, March 22 at Wembley Stadium. I think this is probably the best Carabao Cup final you could possibly get. It's team number one in England versus team number two. Yes, there's been a difference in how well they played, but these are still right now maybe the two out of the top three best teams in England on a normal day, like in the past 3 or 4 seasons. So I'm really excited to see how this one goes. It's going to be a massive game, and I wonder who's going to win this one because the way Man City are playing, I'm not entirely sure that they're going to get over the line. But football is really interesting, and then there's a lot of time between now and then, so we'll have to see how this game goes. But I do think it's going to be a fantastic final. But before we get into the final, let's talk about how Manchester City played today. I mean, 3-0 up at halftime, and you have to say that that was a complete domination in the first half. Like, imagine coming over to the Etihad and thinking, okay, we need to score and make it 2-0 for us so that we can even get a chance to play maybe extra time or penalties. But to concede in the 7th minute, and the goal was a bit unfortunate from a Newcastle point of view, but if you're a Man City fan, you won't complain about that. So the first goal went in, Omar Marmoush scored the second goal from a header. Some really interesting defending again, and then the third goal, Tijani Reinders, after, some interesting play from Man City as well, but putting a third goal in the net, and you just have to see that at that point it did not look like Newcastle stood a chance. In fact, they never stood a chance once it was 1-0 or 2-0 up. But by 3-0, the game was effectively done. But coming into the second half, you could just see that Eddie Howe really wanted to, at least push for something, make sure that they found something or played a bit better in the second half and try to get maybe a goal or two or three. Because I won't lie to you, I think that Man City were horrendous in the second half in terms of their defending. But the problem was that Newcastle were just not able to convert their chances. But you have to also see that the first goal and the only goal that Newcastle scored in this game, Anthony Elanga, that was absolutely brilliant. Like the solo run, the finish, everything about that goal was spectacular. And it's one of those goals where if you score that in training, everybody's hyping you and clapping for you. And if you score that when you're leading 1-0, it's even a bigger goal and it's more important. But scoring that kind of goal and just going to pick the ball from the net and put it back at the center circle, it's a bit disappointing because it's a good goal, but unfortunately, it was just not good enough. And it was not enough for them to get anything from this game. But ultimately, you have to say that goal was really good. Unfortunately, like I said, Newcastle were just not able to convert many goals. And in the next few minutes, they had really good chances. They were able to just break Man City's defense down. And I think that is Man City's Achilles heel this season. Their defense has not been as good as they would normally be in every other season. But like I said, Newcastle were able to break their defense down, but they were just not clinical enough to score goals. They were unable to score a second. Elanga had another chance as well, but he missed it, and it was a really poor miss, especially from somebody who just scored a banger of a goal from where he started running from. Somebody who just scored that kind of goal and missing that kind of opportunity, you're looking at that and it's oh, that's not good enough, really. That is really not good enough. But afterwards, they had other chances and they just were not able to convert. So you have to say that Newcastle, yes, they never stood a chance once they were 3-0 down, but they could have scored more goals and maybe made the game a bit more interesting, to say the least, and maybe a bit more cagey in terms of Man City having to defend well. And like I said, Man City have not been defending well this season. They've been conceding a lot of goals. Yes, they scored in a lot of games, and I don't think they're struggling with goals to score. But in terms of conceding at the back, especially with all the injuries that they have, I would not be shocked if they concede 2 or 3 in a game. And it just shows how defensively frail they are now. The chances that Newcastle had and were just not able to convert, I think that was a big disappointment from Newcastle. But for Man City, it shows another thing that they need to improve on. And that's probably why they're not first in the league right now. They're currently second, and they've been losing and drawing games more than they've been winning games throughout this year. I mean, it's just a few weeks into 2026, but still, you can tell that there's a lot for Man City to improve in terms of their defense. But ultimately, 5-1 on aggregate, you're not going to complain about too many defensive problems. A win is a win. A win is a win is a win. So they're going to be really happy about that. But now winning this game against Newcastle puts them in the final of the Carabao Cup against Arsenal. And like I said earlier in this video, it is number 1 versus number 2. And that is such a good fixture for any fan that doesn't have their team in the final. We're gonna watch from here and just look at two of the best teams in England face off for a title. And ultimately, like I said in my last video, when I was talking about Arsenal winning, this is a big chance for Arsenal to get silverware. They've not had silverware in 6 years. They've not got into a final in 6 years as well. So it's a big game for them, a big result for them. And now they're facing Man City, who also do like to get trophies. And from my understanding, Man City were not able to win a single trophy last season. So they will probably be looking to get their own first trophy in like 2 seasons, because Man City is a team that is always winning trophies. Yes, they got to a final as well last season in the FA Cup, and they lost to Crystal Palace, which was not good enough from their own standards, but they're back in a final again, and they probably want to rectify their mistakes from last season. So it's going to be a really interesting game, and I can't wait to see it. March 22nd, Wembley Stadium in London. We cannot wait to see how that game goes. But that's all I have to say for this video. Apologies for the sound you may be hearing at the back. Something is happening, but it's all good. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. How excited are you for this final? What do you think about this game that was played today? And what else do you have to say? Tell me what you think about the comments. Tell me what you think about the video. But you can watch any of these 2 videos right now. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.